As a kid, my grandma used to knit. No matter where we'd go, she'd be knitting. One time she told me, Brian, knitting is kind of like life. That yarn represents our lives and how long our lives are. The loops or the stitches, they represent what we make of our lives, and they're shaped by the events. And the events obviously are the needles or the looms that we have in our lives. That was interesting. I'd never really thought of that before. Kind of reminds me, and this whole story kind of came back to me as I was teaching the knitting club. I didn't really teach, but I was helping with the knitting club at the Ohio School for the Blind. Now imagine this, your first day of knitting club, we go to Joann Fabrics. Imagine that you're one of 10 different students there for the knitting club. And you show up with the rest of your clan, and you're in this part of the store towards the front door. And then you have to go to the back part of the store where the knitting supplies are. And of course, you have to weave your way from the front store to the back part of the store. You have to weave your way in knitting. Okay, got it. Anyway, so in this, you're one of 10. And you have the best side of all the kids. But, you have to find a way to lead the rest of the clan back to the knitting supplies. Well, you bump and you knock into things, you knock some stuff over, but you finally make it after you're getting through all this. Well, then you get there, and all of a sudden, as one of 10 kids, you want to make sure that you have a certain color of yarn. Why did it matter? Well, it mattered because your mom's favorite color is blue. This was the story of my friend. We called each other friend. Well, he managed to help his friends get back there and find the knitting supplies. But then once he got back there, the club leaders joined up with him. We did get the supplies, and we went and checked out and everything, so it was fine. But it was another week until we had the next session of the knitting club. Well, finally it came, and we'd had it in the original lobby for the School for the Blind. And when I walked in, I said, "Friend, how you doing?" He said, "Oh man, I don't know if I can do this. This is really hard." So he was getting frustrated. I didn't know how to help him, but he says to the club leaders, "Can you help me a little bit?" So she came over, helped him for a little bit, and got him going. And then she looked at me and she said, "Brian, can you help friend?" And I said, "Sure." So I sat there with friend and we worked through it. It was one of the most frustrating things because I knew what he needed to do at this point, but I couldn't just do it for him. Have you ever experienced that? Where you knew what someone needed to do, but doing it for them would just negate the whole process. So he sat there, and after what seemed like a half an hour, it probably took me 5 or 10 minutes, he got the hook up under one of the strings, and then he took it over top of the other string, and he took it over top of the peg. Once he did that, he made a stitch. He made a loop. And when I saw that, I said, "Friend, you did it! You made a loop! You made a loopy!" He said, "I did it? I did it! I did it! I made a loop!" Just then, in the back left corner of the room, someone said, "He made a loop! He made a loopy! He made a loopy!" And then it caught on. Someone in the back right corner said, "He made a loopy! He made a loopy!" And then the entire room started filling with a chant of loopy, loopy, loopy. It was awesome. You see, he not only knitted a feeling of success for himself, but he knitted a feeling of success for the entire club because he made one small stitch. He made a loop. Kind of takes me back to my grandma's saying, You know, Friend's life was about 18 years long at this point. That's how long he'd been living in a sighted man's world. His events that he had in his life were all taught from the Ohio School for the Blind with teaching. And it taught him how to persevere, have a new perspective, and how to just be patient. And so if he could do that, if he could persevere, be patient, and have the right perspective, he'd go very far in life. Huh. Well, you can imagine his mother's surprise when she got this gift that day for Mother's Day. And it was a scarf. That he had knitted. And it was blue. There's so many things that we can learn from these kids, but so many things that we can learn from our own lives as we have all this stuff going on around us today. So remember this, life is not gonna go as planned. So don't be afraid to reimagine your life. Especially in this day and age with so much going on. And finally, embrace what makes you unique, because that is where you're going to find true happiness. I'm Brian with one eye.